The Honorable Pat Conaghan, thank you for joining the Bayonne Public Advocate for this interview, and welcome.
Thank you, Neil.
You are hoping to be the next mayor at a time when the city may be facing some tough fiscal decisions. Are you prepared to be the bad guy and make the tough cuts that are necessary to save the city?
Well, absolutely. I'm prepared to do whatever has to be done. There has to be reshuffling. There has to be addressing of excess employees. There has to be addressing of the expenses and the waste. Just that little thing I pointed out tonight at the council meeting,
Right.
where we're paying cops and not billing contractors until months later. God only knows how much money it is. I brought it up a couple of months, 2 months ago, and I still haven't heard a word. And this could run into big dollars, believe me when I tell you. And one of the first things I'll do as mayor is get in there and really find out what that picture is.
Any fear about, with some of the cuts and the reshuffling that you're talking about, that it might hinder you from getting into a second term? Because I know this is a short term.
Well, you can't worry about that. If you're going to look to your second term and not do what has to be done, the town is going to be bankrupt and out of business.
Okay.
That's no question about that. We're on a. Do you know that our current debt is two and a half times our annual budget, which means
Right.
if you earned $100,000, your credit card debt would be $250,000.
And we're going to get to debt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. So moving on to the budget, do you know what the total current fiscal budget is with and without the Board of Education?
It's approximately 220.
220. So that's.
I believe that's the correct number. Believe me, they haven't even addressed the budget. It's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, definitely it is. So in the past we've heard about tax stabilization, but taxes are never reduced. Do you think the city budget can ever be reduced, and if so, how?
Well, the only way you can reduce it is to get the income side up, aside from taxation. And of course, the peninsula down there was to be our ticket to financial stability, and they've made a total mishmash out of it. They've bungled it. They've got us in a hole deeper than anyone ever could have anticipated. And there's got to be that's what really has to be taken by the horns and administered properly.
Yeah.
Apparently there's been some misleading of the commissioners. The commissioners are all nice people, but they've not served us well. That Port Authority deal is a horror. That Fidelco deal stinks to the high heavens. And here we are, what was to be our salvation is now an albatross around our neck. We spent $880,000 to defend the lawsuit, and now it's in the appellate division and likely go to the Supreme Court, which God only knows how much money that's going to cost us.
And of course, you don't get any argument from me there on the BLRA issue. And obviously, that's the thing that started my advocacy, was getting involved in the BLRA and the Port Authority deal. And in fact, I'm mentioned in the brief, and one of the reasons why the Port Authority is making an appeal, they cite my case and my involvement in it. But moving on to something else that we need to get our hands around and get a little bit better control of is public education in Bayonne. Public education is the largest outlay of property tax dollars at approximately 50%.
Yeah.
The average cost of the taxpayer is over $3,700 a year. There are at least 2 elementary schools failing to achieve 1 or more annual yearly performance indicators, and the high school SAT scores are well below the state average. What steps would you take towards improvements in academics while trying to stay the cost of the taxpayers?
Well, let me tell you, I was president of the Board of Education, and we have an excellent program. We have excellent teachers. We have excellent administrators. We do everything for the child today.
Right.
We're right up to speed on all our programs. Now, Bayonne is a melting pot. You have all economic stratas. You have all types of people, minorities. They're not minorities anymore. We're really fully integrated. If you look at the numbers of how the population is dispersed, this used to be a predominantly white community. That's no longer the situation. You have many Hispanics, you have many Asians, you have many Middle Easterners, and you know, their family cultures and their backgrounds are different. And I don't fault the teachers, I really don't. How can you fault the teachers? Certainly, you'll notice that some people from some backgrounds excel. They're so obedient to their parents. Other backgrounds, they don't excel. I mean, when I was going to high school, I was just an ordinary kid. I came from an Irish family. I went to St. Peter's Prep, by the way. And I enjoyed it there, and I got a good education. But in Bayonne, there's ample opportunities for education. And I think the main problem today with the kids in the school is the parents.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the same, I don't know what the right word is, the right discipline to impose on their children that I had when my kids were growing up.
I'm going to stick with that idea just for 1 second. So it sounds to me like you don't necessarily think there anything that should be changed with the education system per se. You think it's part of our changing makeup of the population.
Exactly. Look, I haven't studied it.
Right.
I didn't even know you were going to bring this up. But, you know, we could look at those scores, and you talk to the professionals, the teachers and the directors in the high school, and you find out why, what, and you evaluate.
Right.
There's a way to go about it. You take, look, this is the class that's here, this is the class that's here, this is the class that's here. And if you look at it, and you can detect trends based on background, you know. And
one of the things I'm hoping to do, and I think that the Public Advocate is hoping to do, is at least bring some of the issues to light. So I'm glad it's not something you've necessarily spoken a lot before about, because maybe you as a candidate can think about it moving forward. The issue that we touched on before, debt. You know, I think that's probably one of the largest issues that we have, as you said.
That is the only reason I ever got involved in running for mayor, was because of the financial chaos we were in.
So do you know the total number of bonded debt that we carry right now?
Yeah, 450 million, give or take.
And that includes all the agencies in the city itself? And that's a large number.
Do you know that 30 cents out of every tax dollar that you give goes to interest payments, which is like
my
flushing it down the toilet?